Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is NFP July 8th. It is 6:22 right now. Market's going to open in about 8 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, then we can get started with our session for this morning. So just a reminder, today is NFP. You guys can see the crazy movement right here at 5:30 when NFP news was released. No surprise for the typical first week of the month. So we'll we'll follow along and see where we can make our entries, but I don't think there is an overall bias. I'll confirm that shortly, but we'll see in a little bit. There's no need to force any trades, obviously, as you guys know. Um, you want to take it steady and only look for really quality entries. So we'll get to that shortly. So give me 1 second. Let me finish setting this up, and then we should be good to go. All right, looks good. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. All right, looks good. All right, as people make their way in, I'm gonna go ahead and mark up my areas of liquidity here. I know it starts 1 hour. So we got the 1 hour marked up right there. We'll go over to the 30-minute. It's good. 15-minute. $10-minute. 5-minute. $1 minute, and that should be it. Cool. So I got all of the high lows here marked up, liquidity marked up, one up. So it looks good. Let me check the news real quick. Good morning, guys. Looks like half you guys are here in the room so far. So just a reminder, today is NFP. So happy Friday, everybody, July 8th. It is 6:25. Market's going to open in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and check out the news real quick. Aside from NFP, just want to make sure there's nothing else that I'm missing here. We had NFP at 5:30. You guys can see the crazy movement from there. So there's just news at 5:30 and there's news at 7 and 8. So that's pretty much it. Fed member Williams speaking at 8 and final wholesale inventories at 7. So 5:30, 7, and 8. So I'm going to go ahead and mark up the NFP movement right here. This is when NFP came out 5:30. And you guys can see the huge jump in price after the news happened. So obviously price reacted to the news and it dropped below and then it came back up. Other than that, we have news coming up at 7 and then 8 o'clock. All right, so that's about it for the most part. Price is pretty much ranging right here, so there's not too much to focus on. So let's see who's here. So hey Kenny, morning. Morning Peter, morning Miles, morning Marlon, happy Friday to you as well. Happy morning Akil, morning Gallo. Kenny said, hey Sean, have you seen the Facebook post of FTMO's zero commission thing? I haven't seen it, but people have mentioned it to me. I don't think FTMO is charging commission for US30 anymore, which is good. A lot of people keep asking me why are they doing that. honestly, I don't ask those kind of questions because that's beneficial for us. I don't want that to go away. Zero commissions is a good thing for us, especially for US30, since that's what we mainly trade. So I haven't seen it myself, Kenny, but other people have mentioned it to me. And that's something that I don't really want to look into because it is beneficial and I don't want them to take it away. So I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. It's just you're going to have more profit. You're typically going to see more profit on your FTMO versus your MFF because I think MFF still charges commission, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, David, morning. Morning, Eduardo. Morning, Patricia. Morning, Seren. Morning, Alexander. Morning, Ross. Morning, everybody. Oh, gotcha. Okay, Peter. Yeah, so Peter said FTMO did it to compete with other prop firms, which makes sense. You know, that's the good thing about there being multiple prop firms out there is that there's going to be competition between them. So it's a good thing that they're not charging commission. Gotcha, Tody. Yeah, Tody said MFF, no commissions either. So I guess it's basically going to be the same thing. I mean, I didn't really see much of a difference anyways to begin with. Profits were only off by like a little bit. The commissions aren't going to make and break your trade. So not a huge difference, but it is beneficial. Hey, Shannon. Morning. Morning, Mauricio. Morning, Albert. Morning, Marco. Hey, guys, just a heads up. I don't know if you guys are like aware, but sometimes you guys leave your camera on, which is completely fine. I don't care because I can't see it on my screen. I turned off the screens and stuff, but I've had a couple messages from people where I guess yesterday someone was like in the bathroom doing something and they were on the toilet and the camera was like just facing directly at them. They didn't have their screen off. So just, FYI, if you guys are not sure if your camera's on, it might be on because they had to go and message this guy like, hey bro, I can see everything you're doing. So he was like, oh crap, I didn't know. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. I mean, you guys have seen people in the past. There's like a couple of people who I know they just sit in their bedroom like butt naked. And someone had to tell some other guy the other day as well that, bro, we could see you. And he was literally sitting there in his underwear. So just yeah, Maddie just remembered who that was. Is he still in here? It was Andre. Yeah, I don't think Andre is here right now, but he was just sitting there in his underwear, like literally his tidy white. He's just chilling. So I just want to give you guys a heads up in case, so that you guys are aware and you guys are just sitting there, not knowing that your camera's on. So, all right, guys, that aside, the market is now open. Sorry for that. We're going to be looking for the breakout here. So currently right now we have a sell momentum, pending buy momentum right here. Let me get this going right here. It's a breakout. So in order for us to take this breakout, we either need a green signal to close here with a strong green candle that'll confirm for a buy for the breakout. However, if we get a strong red candle with no buy signal, then this would confirm a sell for the breakout. One thing that you guys want to keep in mind is that this isn't a good area to take the breakout. So I'm not going to take the breakout. I know some people get upset when I tell people I'm not going to take a trade, but I'm really not going to take a trade here because, or here's the thing, if it closes down here and it's a red, strong red candle, then we might be looking for a sell and it should be fine because the next area of session is like way down here. So just keep that in mind. If this does close as a strong red candle, this could possibly be the breakout, but I'm probably going to wait for it to maybe, and it's too late. So this is a breakout right here. I was going to wait for it to retrace a bit because I was worried it would, reverse because of the sessions. This is the breakout though, right here. I'm going to take a trade, unfortunately. I'll follow it, but I'm not in the position and I don't plan on entering it late. It's just too risky of a move. But yeah, this was the breakout. So I got cut off like midway. I was going to explain it a bit more. But yeah, this is a breakout entry right here. I'm not going to FOMO into it. I was going to try to take the last 100 pips, but I don't think it's worth the risk. So yeah, no, same here, Natasha. I mean, if you guys have been part of K2 for a while, you guys have seen, there's a lot of funny things that happen here pretty often. But I think that day when, because Maddie saw the camera, one of our traders here is just sitting there like basically butt naked, just chilling, watching the live. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys have your camera on, But anyways, this is the breakout right here. It's coming down further. I was thinking about maybe taking it for a partial move, but no, it's too risky. I don't want to FOMO into this entry and then end up getting screwed, right? It's NFP, so you're going to get some crazy movements today. Looks like price already almost corrected back up from earlier, but I wouldn't chase this move here for me personally, because you look at it from a psychological perspective. If you saw price drop right here during NFP, like majority of people are probably anticipating price to drop further, right? That's the trick. The thing is, if everyone's looking to take the sell here, the problem with this here is that this can easily just reverse like it's doing right here. It can just swing up, stop people out, and then make its way right back down, right? It's just too risky of a move, so I'm not looking to take it. Typically, I would if this was going opposite of NFP. So like say, for example, NFP happened right here and price pushed up, and then it was coming back down for correction. In that situation, I would take it. But right here, the manipulation might happen to the upside. So that's why I want to be a bit careful with taking anything here, because this is going in our direction. But the thing that you want to keep in mind is that price hasn't really been highly manipulated yet, right? The news price is up here. So price has not corrected yet to where it was before the news happened. News happened right here at 5:30. This is NFP. Unemployment data was released and whatnot. Price dropped, price came back up, and then it came, back in this direction where it's correcting. But yeah, it's not. I don't think this would be a really smooth move, because the thing is, I'm still expecting manipulation, right? I'm waiting for the manipulation to actually happen. Like I want it to be manipulated to the upside, because I want it. Like I know price is going to come down eventually. It's just I don't want to get caught in this swing to the upside before I take my trade. So just keep that in mind, guys. Always keep manipulation in mind, especially on a day like this, NFP. Like price is supposed to go down, but I'm expecting price to be manipulated before that actually happens. So if this hits, great. If it doesn't, I'm just going to be on the safe side. I don't want to take anything too risky right now. Peter's asking, what news actually affects US30 as opposed to news that moves it and it moves back to news price where it's supposed to be? Maybe that again, Peter, sorry. Peter asks, what news actually affects US30 as opposed to news that moves it, then moves back to? Sorry, Peter, I kind of got confused with your question there. So you're asking what news actually affects US30? So are you talking about news that doesn't directly affect it? Like for today, we had NFP, right? This is going to directly affect US30 because they're releasing basically the non-farm employment change. So basically the jobs here, like the change in jobs here in the US and then the unemployment rate. So this stuff is going to directly affect it because this is going to determine how the economy is doing, right? If there's not very many people working and there's not a lot of jobs available, then it's not going to be good for the economy. Same with unemployment rate. If this is higher, then this is going to indicate that the economy is not doing so good, which will align with the recession, right? That is coming. For your question, are you referring to like other news, like something like this, like final wholesale inventories? This is a light news, but it does affect US30 because the companies within US30 are sale companies, right? Like final wholesale inventories. If you look at that, they're basically going to indicate like how sales are doing for certain companies. Looking at the US30 stock index, there's a lot of retail stores here that will happen to fall under that umbrella, right? Like Caterpillar, Apple, Amgen, they're a pharmaceutical company. Well, I mean, pretty much every company here is it has something to do with sales one way or another. And it's going to affect, wholesale prices or inventories will affect it. So a lot of the news here, it does indirectly affect stocks within the US30, but not all of them like directly affect it. It's usually like, a chain where something affects one thing and then it affects another. So yeah, Peter, if that answered your question, let me know. If it didn't, just give me more detail because I was just a little confused. Gotcha, no problem, Peter. So here we go with the breakout. It's still running right here. I'm not going to take it. I'll just wait for another entry. Let's take a look at the overall bias real quick to confirm. Charles said it's 52% long. So looking over here at the retail sentiment is currently 53% long, 47% short. So this indicates that there's 53% of retail traders who are buying, 47% of retail traders who are selling, and it's bouncing between 52, 58, 53, and 47. So with this said, there's no real bias here with regard to retail sentiment. There's no real direction for us to be trading in right now specifically, because there's not, it's not heavily one-sided, right? People are going in between buys and sells. You can see the number here is actively changing between 52 and 53 as some traders are looking to move in the direction of the sell, while others are looking to buy the dip. So with this said, there's no bias with regard to retail sentiment. Looking over here at the fundamentals, I'll refresh this. It is currently down 64 points. This isn't very much because we're looking for typically red under points or green under points, right? That's going to give us it's going to give us a stable direction as to where price is going with regard to fundamentals. So right here, there's no direction with regard to fundamentals. There's no direction with regard to retail sentiment. So there's not really much for us to have a bias for, right? Because price can really go either way. And as you can see right here with the breakout, this is not a good breakout, right? Because typically the breakout hits right away, right? It usually hits within the first 5 minutes or so. This has been going sideways for a bit now. It's back to entry point, and it's kind of just going sideways. So I'm really glad that I didn't take the breakout and that I advised you guys not to, because it's a risky trade, just like I mentioned. You know, typically you can tell when for days like this, NFP is like a clear example, because NFP is like one of the highly manipulated trading days of the month. It happens once a month if you guys are not familiar, usually the first Friday of each month. And the market starts to move kind of crazy. You can see right here from the news, price dropped, and it dropped a whole bunch, at least 2,000 pips. So huge drop based off this news right here, and then price correcting back up. The target for correction is going to be right here, right? That's going to be the correction. It hasn't happened yet. That's why I'm waiting for it to happen. I'd rather have it correct back up to where it was originally, and then I'll catch it as it comes back down. So as you can see, this crazy movement right here, the manipulation is now playing out. This is why I was telling you guys not to take a trade, because the target area is going to be right here before it comes back down. Or it can keep pushing up, who knows? There's liquidity sitting right here. So if price does push up further, it'll just, you know, continue pushing up higher. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off the breakout because we're not in that position, and we will follow along to see where price goes. But this is going to be the target area for basically baseline. This is where price was before news happened. It's going to go back to that point, and then from there, price can either bounce off and come back further, or it can continue pushing up, hit liquidity, and then come back down. This is kind of what I prefer to see. I'd rather have price super overextended to the upside, and then it'll create liquidity on the bottom so that when it comes back down, it'll just dump super heavily. So you just got to play smart, guys. It's like playing chess, right? You have to anticipate the next move. So the first move that I'm anticipating is correction to this area right here before news happened. The second move is price hitting liquidity up here. The third move is that it comes back down, right? That's how you guys have to anticipate things. You always got to be about, you know, 2 steps ahead of the game. Just kind of predict where people are trading and anticipate where it's going to happen or what's going to happen after that. There's always going to be scenarios. So the first scenario will always be the target, right? This is the target. The next scenario is going to be what happens after the target. Does it continue pushing or does it bounce down? My guess is that it'll push up, hit liquidity, and then come back down. But it doesn't necessarily have to play out that way. And your scenarios can always change. So if things change, like for example here, price ends up coming back down, then your scenario can change, you know, at an instant like that. So we'll see where it goes from here. But other than that, let's see. Peter, I just saw your message in the Telegram right now. Let me see what else I'm missing over here. All right, so I think that's it for right now. I want price to push up here. I want price to keep pushing up because I want everyone who's chasing these sells here to get stopped out because that will just create liquidity down here, right? So I want people to get stopped out right here because there's liquidity sitting up here. Just keep that in mind. I want all this liquidity here to get pretty much knocked out. Once it gets knocked out, then it's going to create better movement for us to the downside. Overall, I'm looking for a sell, but I think right now, currently, I think price is going to push up. So there goes, price pushes up right there. When price pushes up a bit higher, I want it to at least push up to the sessions right here and the news price. Yeah, just basically wipe out everybody who took sells right there. That's why you guys gotta be patient. You know, some people just hop in right away, or they have pending orders and they just get pulled into a position just to get wiped out. So let's let it push up a bit higher. Harry's asking, Sean, can I ask your slippage settings for social trader tools? I have it set to 5 million, Harry. So I just put 5 and then 0.0000005 million because it's going to allow for your trade to execute even if it's like not at the exact same price. So that's just what I have it to. So it almost always executes and doesn't miss. And I think it's pretty solid. I mean, it won't execute if it's like super far away, but it'll execute like even if it's off by a few pips or so. All right, so let me see if there's anything else over here. Yeah, no problem, Harry. All right, so perfect. It's reaching our target area right here. I mean, I guess we could have taken trades if I really wanted to, like liquidity pushes to the upside, or there was also, actually, I think that was all that I saw. There's like liquidity that was sitting around these areas here. But I'm not looking to take anything risky, right? I think this is all manipulation, which is perfectly fine. This is what I want. Like I want the manipulation to play out so that when it comes back down, we'll have a free and clear entry point. I'm hoping it keeps climbing up and creates lows here so that we have liquidity sitting so that when it does come back down, we're ready to just hop into those trades. So let's take a look at the heat map real quick and see what it's looking like. I think it's pretty mixed, or it might be green right now because price is pushing up. Actually, it's pretty mixed. So it's not all green, actually. It's actually more red, surprisingly. It's pretty red right now. Looking over here at the stock index, let me refresh this. Stock index is currently, oh, I see Microsoft is like overhauling right now, so it's kind of red, but it is pushing up. There's more green stocks here, so I do think it's going to shift. There's more green stocks, but it's just Microsoft is down like 3 points, so it's kind of weighing it down. But we'll see. I just want to see everybody get stopped out right here who are chasing the sells. Hopefully none of you guys are in any trades right now or any sells actually. I'm just waiting for it to push up, correct back to this area where it's news price. And then from there, maybe push up a bit higher, knock out liquidity, and then come back down. So that's what I'm looking for right there. I don't know if it'll push up that high, but we'll see. See these big spikes right here? This is like, this is manipulation too. I mean, they're just luring in more sellers. So you guys can kind of see the patterns here, right? So let me just show you how price is being manipulated to basically lure in more people. So see how price kind of drops right here? Like typically, how do most people trade? They try to trade support and resistance, right? So what you can see right here is people will be identifying this as like support and resistance, right? Or resistance. So what happens is people see the rejection off this point, and what happens? They take a sell right here, right? As soon as they take a sell, what happens? It's also at session, so this becomes an area of manipulation. What happens at this point? Price just pushes up, stops everybody out, right? Like that. So what happens next? And these are just patterns that continue to play out. Like again, right here, another situation. So what happens is price like, oh, I got lucky, or people will say, oh, I got unlucky, and now they're looking for another area to basically catch the drop, right? That's why I don't trade like this. A lot of people trade like this and they try to catch the top or the bottom and they end up getting burnt. So for example, again, right here, if they lost this trade, like, okay, this is a second try. They try to do this again. They have their stop loss right there. What happens? They get stopped out again. Like their stop loss is sitting right here, right? This is where they're waiting. It's going to hit right here, hit liquidity and just push up. So this is why I don't trade like this, guys. This is how everybody trades, right? I'm sure you guys have seen other like traders who they try to catch the tops or the bottoms, which it does work sometimes, but majority of the time it doesn't work because the market makers know what you're doing. And that's why I don't really like advertise K2 as much as I used to, because I don't want too many people using K2. You know, the more people who use the strategy, the more exposure it gets. And from there, the market makers are gonna work against it. So for me personally, that's why I don't really allow like random people to join K2 anymore. It's more so just family and friends or like, you know, people who actually reach out to me that can join K2. But it doesn't matter because even if our theories and strategies get outdated, I'm able to adapt with the market conditions. So we're always going to look for new ways to trade. But Yeah, exactly. Maddie said less is more. It's exactly how I see it. I mean, as long as everyone's profiting in K2, that's all that really matters. But if things become less profitable, I can find other ways to trade, like the 15-minute. That's what we've been kind of playing around with lately. I don't know if anyone's been trading it or not, and whatnot, but I was looking for this one right here, Maddie. I don't know if you saw this one. There was a rejection right here, and I was thinking about taking it, but the trend meter turned blue. Yeah, it was green and then it turned blue, so I wasn't able to take it. And it's NFP, so that's why I wasn't planning on it either. It was like right after NFP right here. Yeah, NFP and Friday. But yeah, guys, I'm always looking for new things. I never really stop analyzing the charts. Like even though we have really good strategies already, I'm still looking for new things. Even though the other strategies still work perfectly fine. So let's see where price ends up going. You can see here that price is pretty much ranging now. You can see the range a lot clearer. The range is from this point and this point down here. No entries for us to take. Let's see what the fundamentals are looking like. Fundamentals is still down the middle, 62 points. Retail sentiment, not very strong. I mean, price could really go either way, but I think the movement hasn't really completed yet. Let me mark up the opening price too, so we can see what baseline is from open. So this is where market open is blue line. So you can see here that price hasn't really gone very far. It's pretty much ranging around opening price right here. So this is where market opened. You can see it created a low, created a high, and now it's just bouncing around this area right here, right down the middle. So market opened right here at 6:30. And this is how far prices really moved, the range right here. So I wouldn't chase this. I know some people are probably looking for it to break this low right here. But what I could see happening is if it doesn't break it, it might create an area of liquidity right there. If it breaks it, fine. But if it doesn't, it creates an area of liquidity right here. And that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. As I mentioned, when price does come back down, I want liquidity to be sitting down here so that we can catch it as it broke right through right there. So unfortunately, no liquidity. The liquidity just got broken. So this here is going to be invalidated, and this here just gets pushed down lower. But that's what I was looking for. I wanted an area of liquidity to get built here. So I want like liquidity to build up there, push back up, retrace, create more liquidity, right? That's typically, that's like best case scenario. That's like what we would want to set up right here. So that when price does come back down later, we'll have liquidity set up. But unfortunately, it didn't hold. And now it's starting to push down a little bit more. So let's see, price is getting down to this session right here. Albert is asking, does anyone know if Sean's settings or the trend meter are different from default? Mine looks nothing like this. There is no red on mine. So yeah, set yours to same as chart or just chart, Albert. Natasha, you too. So like right here on the settings, let's go over here. Typically the default settings are intraday. We're not trading intraday, we're scalping. So this is probably how yours looks. What you would do is just set this to chart, and this is going to give you the trend for this specific time frame, the 1 minute. So just keep that in mind. If you guys change it to that, it should fix it. Yeah, no problem, Albert. All right, so let's see where this goes. Yeah, try it out, Maddie. What I would do is download MT5 first, and then try to install the toolbar on there first, like with a demo FTMO account, like a trial account. And then if it works, just message FTMO to transfer over yours to MT5. Because you want to make sure it works first before you make all those changes. Um, last thing you want to do is transfer everything over and it doesn't even work. Yeah, no problem, Maddie. I don't know if Nick's here, but Nick got it fixed yesterday. So, um, and he's on the Mac, so I know it works on his. Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, so here he goes. Price starts to swing its way back up. This is why you don't really want to trade when there's no direction with regard to bias, because price can really go both ways. So for example, here, you could have taken the sell here, you could have taken the buy here, you could have taken the sell, taken the buy, but there's no direction, right? You're not looking for just, oh, only look to take sells or only look to take buys. Price is really bouncing both ways. I don't think there's any other news today aside from the one at 7 o'clock and the one at 8. So final wholesale inventory is coming up shortly in about 7 minutes. Fundamentals currently down 143 points. And sentiment over here currently net long. So looks like bias might be shifting to the sell side, which is perfectly fine. It's kind of what we're looking for anyways. See if there's anything else over here. Let's see. So volatility kind of died down a bit. Kenny said, I hope next week is better. It should be. I mean, it's NFP this week, so we were expecting the market to move kind of funky. It was a holiday week, plus it was NFP, so this was kind of expected. Next week, let me check the news real quick. I don't think it's Fed week. Fed week's usually the third week of the month. So next week, there is not really much news on Monday. There's Fed Williams speaking at 11. It's after the live. Yeah, I don't really see much going on next week, Kenny. So next week, or we have CPI. So we have a consumer price index, inflation news basically right here on Wednesday. And then some more PPI, CPI. So we have a lot of inflation news next week, which, I mean, it'll be pretty fine. It's not going to be as crazy as this week, or it's not going to be as dead as this week. But yeah, I think next week should probably be a bit better with regard to movement, like not moving all crazy. Maddie said might get a high low. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, if it closes below, but the problem with this here, Maddie, is the candle is huge. 1,000 pip candle. So yeah, we might get a high low, but there might be a retracement. So like you can see right here, this candle was huge and they retraced almost to the full candle before coming back down. So even if this does close below here and create a high low, I would probably hold off a bit and then let it maybe retrace back to halfway or the full candle even for making that entry. Yeah, no, I agree, Manny. It could be used as a confluence for sure. But I do expect a nasty retracement if and when it does come, you know, back up. Which I do expect. I don't think this is going to be a smooth move down. You guys can see how crazy these candles are moving. These are like this last candle right here. This was the NFP candle. dropped like nearly 1,500 pips. And then this one right here dropped even more, 1,700 pips. So whenever you see big moves like that, it's typically due for some sort of retracement. You guys can see here, just going back and looking at previous candles, you can see that price typically, if there's a big move like that, it retraces. So let me just mark a couple of big moves here that you guys can probably look at. So like, for example, this one, big move, retracement. This one right here, this red candle, big move, retracement to reversal. Same with this one right here, right? Big candle, retracement to the halfway mark, drop further than reversal. So whenever you see a big candle like that, it's usually a sign to wait to see where price goes. Because if it reverses, you can take it the other way. If it continues dropping, you can, ride it. But looks like it might create an area of liquidity right here, Maddie. So this is actually better. I think right here, if this creates an area of liquidity, then when it does come back to test it and actually break past it for a high low, then this would actually be a better entry point. Because what might happen is price will just retrace up a little bit, come back down. When it hits the liquidity, it's probably gonna dump below, and then I'll just continue dropping lower. Like that. But who knows? The market is really tricky today for NFP. Typically, I don't trade NFP, but if I see something good, I'll take it. So here goes a retracement right here on the 1 minute. We also have news coming up right here in about 2 minutes. So it's just a matter of waiting right here. So it looks like a couple of people posted some profits. So Dell over here posted his profits. Nice work. He traded in the direction for the sell, locked in a total profit of 2,181. Nice work, Dell. Looks like you kind of chased this down here. Looks like you took the breakout and you kind of just you trailed the stop, which is nice. Took the breakout with some couple entries here. They all hit your stop loss in profit, total profit of 2,181. So nice work right there, Dell. Kevin over here as well. Kevin said, I'm just taking speculative trades off Shell's analysis. So he's basically taking trades off these bounces that I'm calling on the live. Locked in a huge profit right here, Kevin. So nice work. See, Hugo said, man, look at this. Nice. Yeah, so Hugo over here actually took this big drop and he got right next to his TP. So unfortunately, Hugo is now kind of stuck in this trade right now. Hopefully it comes down and hits your TP. But yeah, Hugo took the trade here and it literally got like maybe a few pips away from his TP and he kind of got screwed from that point. It's all good though. Oh, wait. Ready to hit your TP. Yeah, definitely Hugo. Hopefully it comes down and hit your TP when it hits this area of liquidity right here. I think this is still a tricky area to trade though. I was thinking about maybe catching a liquidity push, but nah, it's like way too tricky right here. Because the problem is this can be a double bottom, right? You guys have seen that before. Here goes that area of liquidity and it dumps right below it. This is news price too, so it's too risky for me to really want to enter anything right there. I'm gonna mark up news price. So hopefully that hit your TP, Hugo. I think you had enough space right there. So yeah, it hit that area of liquidity right there. I'm pretty sure it dumped into profit right away. Yeah, if you went for the quick 100 pips off the liquidity right there, we would have hit TP. But if you got greedy and wanted to trace back up, this is not the time to get greedy. If you guys are taking scalps, you got to get out and profit. If you have a TP set in mind, just take that TP and then pull out. It's not a good area for me to want to trade though, so I'm not looking to take anything here. I'll follow it for you guys, but the last thing I want to do is take a bad trade, end up losing all my profits from this week. I don't think I took too many trades this week, right? Not really. Let me see my profits for the week so far. So I made profit yesterday, which was Thursday. Made some forex profits day before. One trade here on Wednesday. And I think that was, and then one trade here on Tuesday. So that's about it. I traded like almost every day, took one trade. But I don't want to lose my profits taking something too risky today. Yeah, John said at Kenny, all holiday weeks are like this. Yeah, and I agree with you, John. Definitely. So I was kind of taking it easy to today. Well, not today, but this whole week in general. It's all right. One thing that you guys want to remember is that there's always going to be other days to trade. Like you don't have to make your bulk of your winnings like on one day. You can take like one or two trades a day, like how I do, and it'll add up by the end of the week, or even better by the end of the month. That's like the key thing to look out for. It's just about discipline. Let's see. Thanks, Peter. Peter said the news was positive. So it was final wholesale inventories was 1.8%. So right here, you can see it was previously 2%. It's now 1.8%. This means that things are selling, right? So if things are selling, this is good for retailers. They're selling their wholesale inventory. So that's a good thing. Here's news price right here. You can see price did the opposite. News was positive, the price dropped, and now it's correcting back up to news price right here. This is why I don't trade news, because typically you'll get a direction. Maybe it's like manipulated and it'll correct back up. So my target price right here for correction is going to be that pink line. That's where I think price may likely correct to. Nice 120 pips, and there you go. See where I push up to? Right exactly to that line that I drew up. So a lot of these movements aren't random, guys. Like whenever you see news, that's why I mark up news. Whenever you see news and price moves the opposite, it's usually going to correct back to it if the news is positive. Same with NFP over here, right? NFP was positive news. It dropped initially, and then it came right back up to that area. But it didn't exactly reach the full correction point just yet. All right, let's see what we can pull out of this crazy market. There was a V1 right here too. I don't know if you guys saw that. There's a V1, but actually there's no V1. There's no pending signal. So no V1 off this. Tyler said, was that last high before the news of V1? Oh yeah, so yeah, it's the same one that I was looking at. So it looked like it technically would have been a V1 if we had a pending signal. I look back over here and we had a sell signal. So for the V1, it wouldn't necessarily fit the requirements because we need that pending signal, pending momentum, in that direction. So unfortunately, no V1 there. Also, it was right at the session, so I would have obviously I would have skipped it. This is another V1 right here, but it's right at the session. So again, right here, guys, another V1 setting up, but it's like literally at the session. So that's the automatic red flag for me. So again, right there, V1. This is actually a valid V1. The only problem is that it's risky entry because of the session right there. So I'm not going to take it. Everything's met there. Main red flag is session, which is one of the main red flags for me. Red flags, when to avoid trades. Prices near sessions. And it's at news price. Thanks, Maddie. Yeah, I mean, if it was in the clear, it'd be great, but it's just too risky of a move. So there goes a V1 right there that I wish we could have taken, but it just doesn't fit my parameters, my risk parameters. So yeah, it looks like it would have hit TP too, but you'd have to be like in and out of that trade, because if not, you can see the reversal happening right here. So guys, all these scalps are meant to be pulled, right? They're not meant to be held longer than they need to be. So you can see right here, this candle was kind of big. Look where it's retracing to. It's retracing to either the half body or the full body. And then once it retraces, it's either going to correct back down or it's going to reverse. that's one thing that you guys can do as well. So one thing that you guys could, I mean, I'm always getting these ideas whenever I look at these patterns here. I don't know if you guys have started to notice this pattern, but if you're trading on the 1 minute, so when you're trading on the 1 minute, I typically like having momentum, high lows. What you can do is if you see a big candle, let me see if I can find it here. Like a big candle, like something like this, you can see if price retraces up and reverses or if it continues down. Basically, what you're looking for when you look at these patterns here is you're looking for scenarios, right? So it's kind of better to see like right here. I mean, you can't really see it here, but I'm looking for a big candle somewhere over here. It's probably easier to see on the higher time frame, like the 15-minute. Okay, like something like this right here. And this is probably not a good example because this was NFP. It was an NFP candle at 9:30 at 5:30. Okay, so this is probably a better example. It's like more of a random time. So basically, whenever you have a big candle like this, you can put together two scenarios, right? The scenario is price will either come back and retrace to half of the candle, the full candle, and then once it reaches any of these points, it's either going to continue pushing in the opposite direction or can correct back down, right? So this is a pattern that I see very often. You can see prices retracing up to the middle of the candle right here, it pushes up higher. And you can see that price never comes back down, right? It retraces up higher, but it never comes back down. You're kind of waiting for it to close. And you can see right here that it closes above the candle. So once you see a pattern like that, you can kind of anticipate it to push up higher. Like this is already out of the question. And then what happens next is price continues to push up higher, right? These are just patterns that you can see. Like it's patterns that I notice every once in a while. And that's another confluence you guys can use if you want to, not necessarily required, but a lot of these confluences will help with your analysis and understanding, you know, when to take a trade and when not to take a trade. So same pattern here. You can, it's harder to see on the 1 minute, but I can see it myself. Like for example, right here, same thing again. Kind of a big candle. You're basically waiting for price to close above it or close below it after retracement. So right here, price has retraced up. It didn't close below it. Again, right there, didn't close below it. And it didn't close above it. So the main thing that you're looking for here is you're looking for price to, let's color this like red or something. I know it's kind of messy. I always get these like random ideas and then you guys will kind of see the pattern here. I don't know if you've seen this, Maddie. But yeah, basically we're looking for price to close above here. This red line or below it. And if that happens, then we can possibly see it continue further in that direction. So I'll see these patterns on the chart. Whenever I see these patterns, I'll let you guys know. A lot of this stuff is like stuff that I can't really teach because they're all situational, right? They don't happen all the time, but the patterns that I see very often, especially following, you know, a big candle. Like for example, this candle right here, it's huge. It closed below and it continued dropping. This candle right here, this red candle, right? I'll show you another example right here. You guys can see there's a huge candle right here. You're basically waiting for price to close above it or below it. And you can use this in conjunction with whatever strategy you guys are applying. Price doesn't close below it. Price closes above it right here. So what are you expecting? Price to continue pushing up higher. And it happens all the time. So I'll try to give you guys these little tips and hints, whatever, when I see them, because they're helpful when determining, you know, which direction you plan on, I guess, trading in. Yeah, Kilo said that's so useful, Sean. Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of these things. So right here, price is closing above it. Price is probably going to keep pushing up a bit higher. So here it closed above that candle. And let's see where it pushes. And it's doing exactly what I just showed you guys, right? It's pushing up. Peter said that's only with big candles, right? Yeah, that is correct. The candle has to be like pretty big. Like it has to be an outlier compared to other candles. So there we go. Price is pushing up. And this is all speculation, right? This all comes with like practice and like understanding where price is typically going. This candle right here wasn't necessarily a huge candle, but it was kind of big. So just something to look out for. Because this is like how I come up with the whole thought process of like when you see a big candle, it's either going to retrace halfway, retrace full, and then correct, or it could turn into a reversal. So just another tool in your guys's toolbox with confirming your analysis. So there we go. Price pushed up, closed above it, and it's now pushing up higher. Right out perfect. See, like right here, I could have taken a buy, like a random buy, taking like 100 pips because it closed above it. I would have hit my TP already. But I'm not looking to take anything risky. It's hard for me to take risky trades here on the live because I don't want you guys to be taking risky trades. I want you guys to be taking trades that are high quality. Yes, Sajid said very useful. Thanks, bro. Yeah, no, definitely. Whenever I see these like small things like this, I'll tell you guys. No problem, Alexander. Glad that you guys are using this. Akil said, wonder if you're able to put that into a strategy. Yeah, no, definitely. I think, well, yeah, I definitely think you can. One thing that I that you can do it off is going to be off these momentum signals because typically these momentum signals are very large. Not all of them, but sometimes they're very large. Like for example, um, it's probably better on the higher time frame. Oh, like this one right here, right? Like this one right here is kind of big. This momentum signal. Sometimes they're really big. So if they're really big, you can use that as a determining factor to do that same strategy that I just mentioned. So for example, this one's kind of big compared to the previous candles. Price kind of pulled back, retraced. It closed above it right here. And from there, you could have taken a buy. You know, quick move. And that's something you guys can play around with. I mean, eventually, maybe I'll create this into a strategy, but it's something that I don't really think about because it's just second nature for me to use. Let's see. Yeah, you play around with it to kill. I'm sure you'll have fun with it. You know, backtesting is cool. You guys find something that that works. Here we go. Price pushes back up. As you guys can see, there's no direction in the market. I'll mark up opening price, which is right here, 630. So this is opening price. Price is pretty much ranging from this high to this low. No clear direction. You can see price drops, comes back up, drops, comes back up. And it just keeps bouncing around for the most part. Let's see. Man, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing makes its way all the way back up, at least to opening price, and then all the way back up. Because here's the thing, the same price that we were looking at earlier from NFP, price never made it up to this point, right? So I'm still waiting for it to get up to that point. So maybe if we do see any good buys here, we can probably catch it. I don't see anything right now, but if, you know, maybe if we do see something, we can possibly pop into something like that. Yeah, so Charles over here mentioned that there was a V1 body, which there was, but not one that I would personally take because the sentiment is, I mean, the overall bias isn't really there. So let's see, 56% long. Fundamentals are not above 100 points, I figured. So in order for me to take trades like that, I want to have the overall bias. Like today is like one of the key days where you want an overall bias. So there was a body right there, V1 body, but the fundamentals here didn't align with the retail sentiment. So yeah, there was a V1 right there, but not one that I would personally want to hop into unless we had a strong bias. Because my target price is going to be opening price right here, really. Price to push up. There's actually another V1 right here too. So there's two V1s that came up. There's a double body that happened right here, and then the following candle, a double wick. So two V1s right there. But it only qualify if we had the overall bias. So I think this is a key thing to look out for. Confirm overall bias. You want to make sure that it's very strong. When taking a trade like this, fundamentals are not over 100 points. It's around 80 points. Retail sentiment's not very strong either. And if you guys are not familiar with overall bias, it's going to be, it's right here. Retail sentiment, either 60 to 65% or more in one direction. Fundamentals more than 100 points, and technical bias as well. So let's see where price goes. It's kind of tricky for us to really take anything here. Let's see this, if there's any update. All right. Second. It's really starting to feel like summer over here. Hold on, guys. 1 second. Let's turn on my AC. All right. All right, back to the charts. Let me see if there's anything over here. Let's go back to that 15. Projection off that point. Move this down. So you can see it better here on the 15. You can't really see it too well on the 1 as price continues to push it. But on the 15 right here, you can see that there's a clear range, right? So market opened right here at 630. Mark it up for you guys. So market opened right here at 630. And you can see that price is ranging from this high on open down to this low right here. And it's really just going sideways, but I think the overall direction right now is still going to be a correction back to news price. So the target to look out for right here, guys, on the 1 minute is going to be opening price. That's the first target. Second target is going to be news price right there. I'm kind of hoping price continues to push up. So I want to see price push up higher so that when we come back next week, it'll be a smoother push down. So you can see it better here on the 15-minute. Price has been pushing up since July 5th. So you can see from this low right here, price is actually pushed up about 10,150 pips. So it's pushed up pretty high, or 11,000 actually. So 11,000 pips, it's pushed up since July 5th, which is Tuesday. It's a really big push to the upside. I think right here, it looks like people are, well, not people, but it looks like the market makers are trying to lure in some sellers because a lot of people are anticipating this to be the high. But I personally wanted to push up a bit higher, break that around this point. And then next week, when the inflation news comes out, which is going to be negative, right? Inflation is not going to, it's not getting any better. We're going to a recession. So next week, when you have inflation news come up on Wednesday, over here, CPI, core CPI, et cetera, then we can expect price to correct back down to where it's supposed to go. Right? It's all psychological, guys. It's like thinking in the mindset of like other traders. Everyone's expecting price to drop, but the market makers aren't going to make it that easy for price to just drop like that, right? So just keep that in mind. You always have to be you have to have like a what's it called? You always got to think radically when you're trading because you don't want to think about what everyone else is thinking. If everyone thinks price is coming down, then you want to think for buys, right? Because you don't want to be doing what the majority of people are doing. Uh, and I'm sure a lot of you guys here started to catch on to that. Like whenever I see people buying or selling, I do the opposite. Because typically majority of people do fail at trading. So if you want to do well at trading, you just got to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. So for example, here, I could see a lot of people thinking to take sells here because they're trying to catch the high, but I'm expecting price to at least reach this point. So my analysis earlier, I said the target is going to be opening price, this blue line. Look how far price is pushed up. I made that call from down here. When price was at this point, I said, okay, price is probably going to push up to opening price. And that's how far it's pushed up now. So from this news price to here, it is currently up, 700 pips. It's almost there to opening price. And this all comes with logic, right? You just have to use, I mean, I wouldn't say basic logic, but you're basically just thinking logically. You're basically looking to outsmart the other trader. So think about what the other trader is doing, do the opposite. Miles said, how much do you think the assassination of former Prime Minister of Japan will have on the market? I'm assuming it will only impact the Japanese yen pairs, but not certain. Um, I don't know, Miles. That could possibly affect the market, but I don't think he really. So the thing with him is that was like he's the former prime minister, right? If they assassinated like the current prime minister, then it'd be a different story because he has control over what's going on in their economy. Um, but this one was like a former prime minister, so he doesn't really have a say in like what happens with their economy or their country right now. So I don't think it'll have like a really clear effect on it. But who knows? You really don't know what's going to happen. It can have an indirect effect. Uh, so I mean, I don't really think there's going to be anything specific, but who knows? It could affect the market. Either way, I think that's probably like a light effect on the market. So guys, look at price right here. It came back to opening price. Exactly what we were anticipating. So we mentioned price was going to push up to opening price from down here, and it did. The next target is going to be up here. So and if you guys are wondering like how I was able to anticipate this, it's just what I was mentioning earlier. I'm thinking of the opposite. If people are looking to sell here, think about it, the emotional trader, right? Like majority traders like yourself or even me. When you're trading emotionally, what happens when you see a big drop like this? If you're trading emotionally, you're thinking to chase this drop, right? And then what happens from here? Once you chase the drop, price kind of consolidates a bit, it drops a little further, and you're expecting it to drop, right? But typically what happens is as soon as you enter the sell here, price completely reverses, right? So that's why I'm looking at this right here. Price reversed. And then at this point, look where it's pushing to. It's getting closer and closer to my next target. Because I could already anticipate people are looking to take more sells right here, but I do think price is going to keep pushing up because my target area is here. Price never corrected to this point, and it's almost there. Yeah, definitely, Maddie. We'll see you next week. And same with you, Patricia. Patricia can call it a day, Sean. Have a great weekend. Don't like the market moving. Yeah, me neither. So I'm not entering anything. I'm analyzing stuff, but I'm not taking anything myself because it's just too risky. All right, so let's see where price is continuing. So it's still not the target, almost there. I wanted to push up higher at this point right here and continue push up right there. Yeah, hopefully none of you guys take a sell here. Like, I've been trying to explain to you guys like how this, there we go. There we go, hit the target, push up a little higher. Dang. Analysis played out perfect. I wish I would have taken the trade. Like, I wish I would have followed my own analysis, but I don't want to take these risky trades here. But it did exactly what we were anticipating, right? It finally corrected back up to NFP. So I feel bad for whoever took sells right here, man. Yeah. I know people who took sells too. So I'm kind of like, we're burned. Mauricio said, Sean, you need to listen to Sean. I know, I do. But there we go. Well, if this happens again in the future, I'll be more confident. The thing is, I wasn't 100% confident about this move here, but nice. Played out perfect, and it might come back down at this point. So maybe I'll be looking for it to all right, so there we go. This price makes its way back down. All right, so let's see what happens here, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. It's 7:30 right now, so it's 30 minutes from 8. I'm not really looking to take anything today, obviously, for the risky conditions in the market. But I'm free to answer whatever question you guys need help with. So if I see something good, I'll take it, but I'm probably not going to take anything today because I don't look like, the market doesn't look like something that I want to mess with unless I see something, a bit clearer. Jonathan said, I'm out before I mess up my challenge. Oh, I'll see you Monday, Sean. Have a great weekend. Definitely, Jonathan, I'll see you then. Charles is asking, do you expect price to come back down? Yeah, I do. So now that price has corrected to this point, the news price, this is what you guys want to look out for and wait for. You want to wait for price to either continue pushing up or for price to correct back down. So how I mentioned earlier, whenever you get to these key structures of price, you can build a scenario, right? The scenario is either is price going to continue pushing or it's going to come back down. So for me, I think price may be coming back down, but who knows? We'll see how far it reverses from. All right. So question from Sanjeev. So yeah, sorry, Charles, I just got sidetracked. I'm having side combos here, but yeah, price, if it does come back below this news price, this is like the target right here, then I expect it to continue dropping and correct back to opening price right here. However, if it doesn't drop below there, I think price may continue pushing up before dropping, but this is going to be the key structure to be looking for, this pink line. So do you see where price goes from this area here? Second question is from Sanjeev. He wants me to go over the 15-minute strategy. So let me just go over there real quick. 15-minute high-low strategy. So Sanjeev, you want me to go over? I'll go over both, but there's two different ones that we look out for here. This specific strategy, I wouldn't apply it during like crazy conditions. I typically apply this during like Asia session, right, where the market's moving kind of like slower and it's not all crazy. But basically, like this right here, I wouldn't take it here because this is NFP, right? This whole period right here is not a good time to take risky trades. Well, I wouldn't consider this risky, but when the market's moving too crazy, because you're going for a 500 pip TP stop loss, and this could be a mess. But there's technically an entry right here. So let me go over the high-low strategy that you're just referring to. Basically, you want to confirm the trend using the K2 trend meter. So right here we have the trend meter in green, right? So we're looking for buys. Second, you want to confirm the previous unbroken high-low using the K2 high-low indicator. So with that said, there is a high right here. That's going to be the second requirement. For the third requirement, you want to confirm price is breaking and closing past the previous unbroken high-low. So this right here wasn't broken before. This candle broke above it. So this would be the third requirement. Fourth, you want to confirm you're trading in the direction of momentum. Right here, we have a buy signal. And with that, you can enter a buy right there. You're only going to go for about 500 pips. And this would technically be the entry. I would avoid doing this during crazy market conditions like right now, but this would technically be an entry for the high-low. So maybe that's why you asked about it, because there was an actual entry that came up right there. That entry is running, but I mean, I personally wouldn't take it myself for the reason that's pretty obvious right there. Let me see another one. I think there's another entry right here. Okay, so this is for the high-low strategy, right, where you're waiting for the break and close past it. For the other strategy, which is it's similar, but it's different. So it's similar, but you're looking for a rejection. So again, you're looking for the. Let me just rewind to the entry, which would be right here. So for this one right here, instead of looking for a break and close, you're looking for a rejection. So you're looking for the trend meter again below. Actually, it wouldn't be this entry here. Let's see if I could find another one. I thought I saw one there, but it wasn't. This is the one I was talking to Maddie about. No, that's not an entry there. Okay, so actually there's one right here. It's perfect. So here is the other high-low. It's basically a high-low continuation. We might rename this. I'll call this like high-low rejection, because so it doesn't. There's no confusion there. So let me just. I'm just gonna rename it because I don't want you guys to be confused with this. K2 US30 high-low 15-minute high-low. So basically for this, instead of waiting for price to break and close past a certain, certain point, you're looking for rejection. So you're looking for retracement. You can see the trend meter is green right here. So you're obviously anticipating price to continue up higher. First, you want to identify the unbroken high-low. Same thing that we did earlier. Here's a low here. It wasn't broken before this candle touched it, but this one did. So for the first requirement, it's met because this is the unbroken high-low. Identify a wick rejection off the K2 high-low in the direction of trend. So right here, we have a wick rejection off that low. It's in the direction of trend because we're looking for a buy here. Trend meter is green. You have trend meter set to the same as chart. I would have to clean up these requirements, but you guys can tell it's pretty much the same thing. Instead of looking for a break and close, you're looking for a rejection. So with that said, you have price coming back with rejection off the low. Confirm pending momentum. We have a sell momentum. Next momentum has to be a buy. And you're doing the same thing. Enter a long position right there. Same thing, 500 pips. It's basically a set forget. You let it run. Retraces a little bit. Pushes back up. Hits full TP. So there's an example of both of the strategies, the rejection and then also the other one right here, which is pushing up to full TP right now. It's almost there. Not there yet, but almost. So looks solid, guys. Sorry, just looking at that right there. So Sanjeet, if you want another example, let me know. But I think this pretty much explains it. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna grab some water real quick. All right, guys, I'm back. So let's see. Another question from Akil. Akil is asking, Sean, can you give us your analysis for the daily chart? What do you think will happen the next week with the news on Wednesday? Well, just thinking ahead, I think price is going to come down because the inflation news isn't going to be good. You might see some manipulation like today, where you'll get price in the opposite direction, and then it ends up correcting back. But I'll pull up the daily chart just to, give you some sort of analysis of like what I think may happen. The thing with US30 though is that you don't want to predict too far ahead. The thing with US30 is that it's a lot of people think it's not random, but it is random at times. Like some people don't believe in news, right? I proved to you guys here that news actually does have an effect. Like for example, right here, NFP price drop, and it's crazy because I always see a lot of people who hate on my analysis and they say it doesn't work or it doesn't make sense or it's not like it doesn't actually play out like how we analyze. But this is like a clear example right here, right? Price came back below the news, it corrected back up because it typically happens the same pattern. Same with this right here, price dropped below here, there was news, it dropped below it and it came right back up. Typically when price moves opposite of news or in the opposite direction of what you anticipated, it usually corrects back up. So looking at the daily chart right here, obviously it's bearish, right? Price has been bearish for some time now. So this is the daily chart. And you can use all the K2 indicators for your analysis, whether it be on the daily, whether it be on the 1 minute, on the 1 second. All these the indicators here work fine with like whatever time frame you want to trade on. So like looking at the daily over here, you can see that prices are tracing up. So by Wednesday, let me see. Wednesday inflation news comes out. What is Wednesday? Wednesday is going to be the 13th. So let's mark up the 13th over here. I expect price to come down. That's, it's a given. So right here, price may continue pushing up. This is what I was just referring to earlier. I was like, price may push up, and then eventually on Wednesday next week when inflation news comes out, I think it'll come back down. So areas to look out for, or what you can do here is you can mark up liquidity, right? It's the same thing you do on the shorter time frames. You can do the same thing here on the higher time frames. You can mark up liquidity, and you can identify where you think price may be coming down to. So for example, right there, we have pretty much the high lows marked up, lots of liquidity on top. Where's the area of rejection to likely happen? So the same strategy I just showed you guys, right, for Sanjeev. The same example of the same strategy that I just showed you, it works on the daily too. It's not just on the 15, right? So, sorry, I used the other one. rejection. I don't want to confuse you guys. K2, US30. Let me refresh this chart. So all of these strategies still work the same on basically whatever you guys plan on applying. So let me use this over here. Same thing. We're looking for the trend, right? The trend is red right here. We're looking for a wick rejection off a high low. So when it comes to Wednesday right here, one thing you might want to look out for, Akil, is going to be the wick rejection off this high right here, right? If we get a wick rejection off here, we'll have a pending sell because most recent signal here is a buy. And I think this will probably drop pretty heavily, right? So that's a key thing to look out for, wick rejection off this point and drop below. You're not going to go for 500 pips because it's just not going to work. It's just too close. So you might have to go for a bigger move, not even 1,000 pips. You might have to go for like maybe like 5,000 pips, right? Because it's a daily chart. So if you get a rejection like that, you might be able to catch it as price continues to fall off. I haven't done it on the daily though, so that's something that you might want to look out for. But yeah, if you're looking at this point, I think price may push up slightly, and then this might be the area of rejection right here. Right, it's coming back to test that area, and then possible rejection off this point back down. So this is kind of what I see happening. This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but this is my analysis for now. We'll have to come back and see this. Like we'll revisit this maybe on Tuesday next week. Just remind me and let me know, and then we'll see if this actually plays out, if it respects this area right here. So yeah, we'll see. And I mean, it's nice. It's nice to come and see the higher time frames. The strategy still work perfectly fine. I know you guys have seen me apply the intraday strategy. The intraday strategy works very well on higher time frames as well. So like say for example right here, if you were to take the trend meters green, the valid buy signals right there, you could have taken this for an intraday. Looks like it's still running, but the intraday strategy works perfectly fine right here too. So green and green, full TP. But you'd have to look at the overall bias too. So just keep that in mind. It's not as easy as it looks. I mean, it looks easy because I'm showing you guys, off the fly, but the analysis actually goes a bit deeper. Yeah, no problem, Akil. Next question. Let's see. Sanjeev said, clear explanation, bro. In which session does a 15-minute high-low strategy and rejection work well? Asia, London, or New York? It works in all sessions, Sanjeev. But the entries typically set up during Asia. So you'll see these 15-minute entries, like for example, right here, the entries will set up prior to, to the faster moving session. So like this entry right here actually happened at 1:45. So this was like right at London Open. And as soon as London got into full swing around 2 a.m., this is where it shot up and hit TP. If you go back and back test it, you'll see that a lot of these entries, they set up around Asia session, and then they tend to play out like as soon as London opens. So just play around with it. It's not like this isn't an official strategy yet. I have to go back and back test it a bit more. I haven't really tested it enough to confirm that it's a valid high win rate strategy. But from my experience, I think it works pretty fine. So I would just apply during all sessions. Maybe try with your demo first before you do it on an actual live account until you're comfortable with it. Because I still haven't came up with the official requirements. So these requirements are going to change. This is just a rough draft of what we're putting together. All right, Akil. Akil's taking a call today. See you on Monday, Sean. Definitely, Akil. We'll see you then. So it's 7:46 right now, guys. It's getting close to 8. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Looking over here on the 1 minute, there's not really much for us to take at the moment, so there's not anything for me to call out. I'm kind of content with the week so far. I don't want to risk anything and then blow my profits from this week. So unless I see something really good, I'm going to hold off. Let's see. I do think this will probably play out though. So I'll probably be looking for a buy here. If I can see any like buys on the 1 minute, just like a move within it, basically. It's like a pivot scalp coming up right here. Might be a little risky, but let's see. And it didn't close, so maybe not. Yeah, just like what Tony said, price is in a range. You don't want to be trading when prices in a range like this because it can literally go either way, up or down. What would be nice is if we get a high-low scalp or a triple confluence actually. So if price ends up pushing above here, this high with a buy signal, then that would be a pretty solid triple scalp or a triple confluence. Confirm overall bias. I don't think we really have that right now. Sentiment is flat. It's 53%. So not very strong. Looking over here at the fundamentals, they're a little bit bullish. Technicals are bullish. So overall bias is like a weak bullish bias. So we would get that valid momentum if it closed above here. Trend meter is green. Price is above the pivots. And if it breaks and closes past here with that bias signal, possible triple confluence. But yeah, just like what Tony said, it's in a range, so it's not a good time for us to enter the trade here. Tony said high-low scalp or triple confluence. I think those are the two best options at the moment. And I agree too, Tony, definitely. So I think the key thing to look out for is if this candle here closes above this high with the buy signal. So if we can get that, possible entry, but it doesn't look like it at the moment. Tony said very small candles. Maybe the move is losing strength. Yeah, and I agree too, Tony. It does seem like it. Volatility just died down. Looks like a lot of people are pretty much out of the market for the weekend. Basically, people who got stopped out are just like, screw it, right? I mean, I'd be feeling the same way. If you guys got caught in like some bad trades today, I'd have been pissed and I would have just called it a day by now. Hopefully none of you guys took any losses. I didn't take any losses. I didn't even take any trades. So, or if you guys did take trades, hopefully they were wins. So that pretty much scratches the high-low scalp. I don't think it's going to push up anytime soon. So no high-low scalp there. Mauricio took a loss. Which trade did you take, Mauricio? Did you hop into something like all of a sudden or FOMO into a trade? Oh, you're trading NASDAQ. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, all the markets are tricky today. Not just US30. It's like Mauricio's trading NASDAQ. It's all good. You'll make that back, hopefully, by next week. But it happens. That's really where the discipline comes in, right? Being able to sit on your hands. Like typically I wouldn't be able to sit on my hands after like calling this analysis and seeing it play out. Usually I'd FOMO into a trade and I just take a buy at some point. But for me personally, you know, I know myself and I know that I have bad habits that I have to keep under control. So right here, a possible V1, actually not V1, V2, if it closes as a strong green candle, like meaning no wick on the top side. Nope, doesn't look like it's going to close. Or maybe it will. No. So no V1 there. There's a wick, a little wick, but in order for it to be a V2, can't have any wick on top. So the V2, you guys don't see this very often, but it usually hits pretty often. Like if it does come up, it usually hits. So confirm overall bias. We have a weak bullish bias. We have low here. Confirm the high is a green candle, low is a red candle. This is a red candle. Confirm the candle following the high low is a strong candle. No wick on top for a sell, no wick on top for a buy. If there was no wick right there, this would be a V2. And it looks like, damn, look at the market. It's moving crazy right now. Thankfully, we're not in any positions at the moment because get burned. But yeah, this still wouldn't be a V2, so we wouldn't have entered the trade to begin with. I just wanted to show you guys so that you guys understand and you guys are aware. The V2 doesn't come up very often, but it usually hits. So no wick on top or no wick on bottom. Yeah, Tony said in a range, I don't take any trades. It's very risky. I think many people lose because they try to trade in the range or they don't see it. Yeah, and I agree with you too, Tony. It's kind of difficult to see unless you guys draw these high lows. Like the reason we were able to see this range here is because we drew our high lows. And we can see that price is literally just going sideways, or it was down here. Now that price has dropped below, we'll see what happens here. All right, let's see. 1 second. All right, let's see. So Kevin said I trade patterns all day, and they repeat over and over every day. Everything that Sean is saying is how I trade every day. Frazier said, "Nice work, Kevin. Your consistency is remarkable. It gives me confidence to keep plugging away to improve." Kevin said, "I'm not sure why they have a problem either. Sean is literally telling you how to trade." Sean also called out the double bottom. That's exactly where price bounced and retraced. Yeah, no, definitely. Mauricio over here, he did take the loss off NASDAQ, but he did come out net positive for the week or for the day, which is exactly what you're looking for. So nice work right here, Mauricio. He traded gold. He lost on NASDAQ, and then he won here on US30. Another one on gold, and another one on oil. Total profit of 2,221 for the day. Great work, Mauricio. See Kevin over here, up pretty heavy right there. Down 58K for the day. Lots and lots of wins right there by Kevin. Nice work, Kevin. All right, Telegram closed on me. Let me reopen it. But yeah, Kevin over here, solid profit for the day. Again over here. Nice. Yeah, Kevin said he's trading NASDAQ with some other accounts as well. He's using NinjaTrader to trade NASDAQ. So solid profit right here. Overall, P&L, pretty heavy. So amazing work this week, Kevin, per usual. Anything else over here? Let me see. B said, Sean, I've been trading with you for about 4 months. Been a long journey since I started trading about 1.5 years ago. I'm going to play through this. Yeah, B said, I passed through bad experience, frustrations, but at the end, like you say, wait for the perfect entries, understanding that not everything you see on the internet and YouTube is true. Your analysis and strategies are definitely have helped me on this journey. Still trading demo, but he's doing very well. So yeah, definitely. And I agree with B here as well. He said mastering strategies is, being patient is key. So for the day so far, he took some pretty solid trades, some losses, some wins. But this just shows you that, if you're consistent, even though it's demo, guys, like another thing too is like, I see a lot of people who care too much about like what other people are doing. Just focus on your own account, right? Whether you're trading demo, whether you're trading a challenge, whether you're trading your own personal account. The key to is just to stay consistent with yourself. So great work right here, B. I know this is your demo and the profits here might be unrealistic, but this gives you hope that you can actually do this even on a smaller account. So great work, B. Off that, I don't think there's anything else here, Alexander. So Alexander said, John, I don't trade the 15-minute yet, but I keep an eye on it. Could you please comment on this trade? Any red flags, reasons it didn't play out? So I think the main thing right here, Alexander, for this buy, someone else showed this to me too. it was right at the sessions and the candle was too big. So Mahesh actually showed me that same exact trade. So this trade right here that Alexander mentioned, Mahesh actually asked me the same exact question this morning. Let me see if I can find it down here. Or MA, sorry, not Mahesh. So he sent me the same exact trade right here, Alexander. The main reasons I gave him was for one, price was very close to the New York session high, the green dotted line. So, you know, this tends to be like an area of manipulation where like fake outs and reversals happen. That's basically what happened there. Price faked out, came back down below the session. So for one, it was mainly the session was in the way. You know, I still use red flags even on the 15-minute. And then also the entry candle was too big. So another reason is that this candle here was huge, right? The same thing that I just mentioned earlier. Typically, when you have a big candle like this, price will either retrace halfway, full candle, and then either correct back up or completely reverse. So the main red flags there would be price was at the sessions and the candle was too big. Lastly, just because it's NFP, that's usually another red flag as well. So a couple of things there. Here, I'm just going to copy this over. I'm not sure if this... Are you here, Alexander? I'll just copy this over. Let's see, Alexander said it looks different. So it looks the same. Here, I'll pull it up on the chart. Let me see what time is this. This was at 21. So let's go to the 15-minute over here. Pretty sure it's the same entry. It looks like it to me. It's this one right here, right? I might be wrong, but we'll see. I think it was... You have the timestamp? Oh, gotcha. Okay. It looks similar to me, but you might be right, Alexander. It might be a different entry. This was on the 7th at 2100. Oh, gotcha. Okay. 7th, 2100. Yeah, it's right here. So yeah, I think it's the same thing that was the issue for you too, though. It was right here at the sessions, and the candle was too big. You know, measuring this candle compared to the others, it's about 810 pips. Let's see. Press 1, 2. So here's what happened here. Same thing. Price came back to the full of a candle. It didn't completely reverse, so you can see that it came back, but then eventually it ended up swinging back to the upside. So the main things here from your entry would be sessions. That'd be number one. And this candle here is just too big. So those are the two main things. I think MA over here, let me see what he put. Yeah, you're right. Actually, they're two different entries. This one's from today. So it's basically the same exact entry, but I mean, well, not the same exact entry, but the same exact situation. Price was at the sessions and the candle was too big. So that's basically what I would have identified and avoided. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people forget to look at the red flags. For me, I don't really forget about it because it's like it's engraved in my mind because I've lost so many trades because of these red flags. Whenever I lose a trade, it's typically because of one of these reasons. So that's why I always just avoid when price is near sessions, and they're in order of importance. Sessions is always going to be number one. The candle too large is fine because you can wait for retracement and enter it late. But if it's near the sessions, I for sure ignore it. So just FYI. So hopefully that helps, Alexander. I know it's kind of frustrating sometimes if you take it and that happens, but just make sure to have the red flags in mind. Yeah, definitely. No problem, Alexander. Some more profits right here from Scotty. So Scotty over here locked in a total of 1,617. Looks like he took quite a bit of trades over here. Not bad, Scotty. Not bad to close out your trading week. See if there's anything else here that I'm missing. Joshua over here as well. Locked in a total profit of 197. Great work, Joshua. Hugo over here, locked in a total profit of 5,069. Great work, Hugo. So nice work right there. Yeah, so Hugo didn't take the trade yesterday, but today he did pretty solid. He took this trade here, and it went straight to TP. Kind of screwed with you a little bit there, but it finally came down to hit it. So I'm glad it hit it for you. Other than that, I think that's about it for right now. So, all right, guys, it's 8:02 right now. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. You know, I'm here to help you guys out. Whatever you guys need help with, let me know. Anything that you're confused with, anything you need more clarification on, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Otherwise, I think we'll be wrapping this up for the week. I'm looking for that entry that we were looking at earlier. Did it ever finish? I think it was this one, right? Yeah, it was this one. Candle was too big though, so obvious reason to avoid it. But it's still running. So the same 15-minute here is still running. Market is moving kind of funky. It's back into this range. Let me just update this a little bit. So yeah, price is technically still in the range. It just kind of faked out. Well, it dropped below and then it came right back up. There's now liquidity sitting right here. But it's still in the same range, Kodi, that we identified earlier. Yeah, so this pivot scalp over here would have hit back into the range. It's all good though. It's all good. Pivot scalp right there would have hit. Yeah, it was too risky of a move. Oh, and actually we had news here at 8. So we had news again right here. So this is a news price. Or actually, it's not even news price. The Fed is speaking right now. So I think this is probably a good time to sign off. So right now, the Fed is speaking, I believe. Yeah, right now, Fed member Williams is speaking. They're going to be talking about NFP, non-farm payroll, basically the news that came out today. So I would probably just call it a day, guys. If you guys don't need a trade, I would just sit it out. The Fed is speaking right now. I don't think we have it televised, but he is speaking right now. At 8 o'clock, he started speaking. Fed member Williams. They're going to be talking about the economy, inflation, the recession. It's just a lot of stuff that you want to be avoiding. So, all right, guys, I think that's about it. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to email me or message me on Telegram. Otherwise, we'll be back here on Monday, same place, same time, to take on another trading week for July week 2. So other than that, guys, have a great weekend. Be safe. Get some rest, right? I feel like a lot of people here just want to back test all weekend, which is great, but just make sure to get some rest because you want to come back well rested on Monday so that you can focus on the charts fully. So other than that, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys back here on Monday.